Hey, remember training Jan 26 to knock it out the park, achieve what you want to be, get what you want to get. Okay, so this is about practical steps to build a year most people will only talk about. So let's have a look at how we can achieve that. So let me have a look. So the first thing that is, let me just go back, sorry. First thing is just stop stopping. Sounds simple, but if you think about it, most of the things that you don't achieve is because you will stop for short or long periods of time. If you're injured, if you're stressed, if you're tired, if work's going badly, you will stop and you will not follow through fully on your goals and your actions. So if you think about it, stopping kills your results and your momentum. You have to find a way to keep going even when things don't go to plan. When you're not crushing it, when you're not bossing it, when you're not feeling the waves of motivation, which, as we know, motivation's fleeting, it comes, it goes. What we need to find is strategies, systems, and discipline that will hold you through those times and build momentum. So, the concept we're going to discuss here is doing the minimum. Some people, Tim Ferriss calls it the minimum effective dose. So if you can't do that full leg workout and you haven't got an hour or 45 minutes, could you go and do some squats and just hit 4 sets of squats? Could you do a body weight leg session if you can't get to the gym that day? What this does is it stops you missing those sessions, which then becomes a habit. Because if you miss on Monday, miss on Tuesday, what a lot of people do is, oh, I'll just start again next Monday. So we are ruining that momentum. And then if something happens next Monday, oh, I'll start next month. You've got to do everything within your power. If you're saying you're doing 3 sessions a week, you get them in, even if it's at a reduced intensity or duration. So do the minimum rather than stopping. That will have a domino effect to everything else you want to achieve this year if you follow that principle. So the minimum dose, as we've just mentioned, if you can't do the full thing, do the smallest possible version. It's about momentum. It needs that continuity. Even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes doing some press ups at home, going a quick run round the block, it's about doing what you can with what you have. And that, bearing in mind, life gets in the way. We know that. And that's what stops people. So it's about having a plan B and a plan C if you can't execute plan A, because we would all love to set PBs every week. We'd all love to have the time to go to the gym and do whatever it is we want to do and get runs in, do all those things that we want to do across a week. But if you can't, what's your plan B? What's your plan C? It's having a strategy for that so we can keep this continuity and momentum building throughout the year so we stop stopping. Progress over perfection. I talk about this all the time. I have done with clients for the last 29 years. Yes, it is 29 years now. I'm showing my age. And the concept that I want you to take away from this mini training is this: the days you do the minimum matter more than the days you smash it. Because we're all going to have those workouts where it goes to plan, you hit a PB. But it's those days, like we mentioned, when you can't be bothered. Shall I just watch TV? I haven't quite got enough time to do the full session. If you can go and do something on those days, even if it's scaled down, duration or intensity, if you're injured, if you can't train your legs, you can train your upper body, vice versa. You know, I've trained on crutches, arms in slings, trained my legs. You can do something rather than take 4 weeks off, 6 weeks off, and have to start again. We want to build momentum, not having to keep starting again. Okay. So, like I said, the days you do the minimum matter more than the days that you smash it. And planning for when things don't go to plan. So, having a plan for when you get injured, having a plan for when work takes over, having a plan for when you're on holiday. Plan for plan B, plan C, so you can keep momentum building. Again, I've talked about this before. Releasing the brakes, I've called it before. It's about having less baggage. If you think about climbing Everest, you can't carry everything with you. You have to ascend higher, you have to leave things behind. Formula One cars don't go faster by adding brake horsepower. They reduce friction, they reduce drag, and they reduce weight. Faster acceleration, faster braking, it's because they reduce all the things that slow them down. And this is about life auditing, reviewing last year, and thinking about what do I have to subtract if I'm going to add something in. Because usually, if you want to pick something up, you've got to put something down. So, what in your life right now, what one or two things have you got to leave in 2025? And I would suggest you just pause this here and write that down. What are the biggest dominoes that are going to knock down the other dominoes positively or negatively? And on this one, you've got to look at the negative side. What are the things that affect everything else? What's that baggage that's holding me back? The handbrake in the car. Think of things like sleep. Sleep affects your energy, what you eat, how you perform, your recovery, and everything else. So, how can you sleep better? What is the baggage? What is the handbrake around your sleep? Is it binge watching Netflix? Is it drinking too many nights a week, which affects your sleep? If you're drinking 4 or 5 nights a week, could you reduce that to once a week? Get more workouts in, have more energy, have a better diet. Is it the fact that you're not prepping meals? And that's causing loads of friction where you're having to go out and have unplanned meals all the time rather than prepping and planning. Okay, this will be personal to you. What do you need to leave behind in 2025 to accelerate forwards? And then think about this concept of what is the first domino? Okay, usually in your life, there's one or two things that you will know that will, like I've just discussed on the last slide, that will have a really positive effect. If I do this one thing, the dominoes fall and everything goes positively. Conversely, on the negative side, there's a domino that falls which causes a cascade of I've stopped, I'm not starting, I've had a week off, I've had 2 weeks off, I've had 3 weeks off, my diet's gone to pot. Look at your life, do a little audit again here. What's the first domino that will make everything go positively? Get that knocked over and start that path. And if you can stop knocking over this first domino on the negative side, you won't cause that negative cascade on that side. I mentioned it before, alcohol, poor sleep, getting to bed late, lack of planning. These are all things that can cause real negative domino effects in your life and your training, your recovery, and ultimately performance and progression. So think about your life, take a couple of minutes, review that, and see what it is for you. Okay? Concepts of yes and no's. Now, Jim Carrey, I think, had the film Yes Man. And it's great saying yes to things, but sometimes you need to say no. If your bucket is already full, you can't keep adding more things in. So if you're a people pleaser and you say yes to everything, that can cause you lots of problems, professional life and personal life. So yes builds momentum. Yes, we're going to start a new training plan. Yes, we're going to start getting up earlier and going for a jog for 10 minutes on a morning. Yes, we're going to go for a 10-minute walk after each meal to aid digestion and control blood sugar. They're all great things. But if your bucket's already full, you've got to say no to some things to add them in. Okay? So no protects your momentum. It stops you saying yes to every shiny object, every new diet that you see. Oh, I'm doing keto, I'm doing paleo, I'm doing vegan, whatever it may be. You sometimes have got to have a plan and stick to the plan long enough before you find out if it's working. If you are zigzagging and flip-flopping, you get nowhere. So you sometimes have to build momentum in a direction based on sound principles and then review it as you move forwards. So it's knowing when to say yes and when to say no. Because as you're trying to ascend to new levels of strength, fitness, reducing your body fat, whatever your goals are this year, marathon time, 10K time, high rocks time, whatever it may be, You can't take everything with you. You need to leave things behind as you accelerate forwards. We've talked about releasing the brakes. We've talked about leaving baggage behind. That's saying no to things. So in January, you will be bombarded with every fad, every supplement, every possible way to achieve your goals. And it's knowing that I can't say yes to everything. There's a finite number of things I can say yes to, and a lot of it I'm going to have to say no to. And just go all in on the things that you know are the things you need to do, which might be getting to the gym 3 times a week, getting your steps in, getting your protein in, getting to bed on time every day, building a basic foundation of principles that will allow you to stack other things on top. Don't say yes to everything. And all these lead to who you're going to become in 2026. And I would suggest one thing that should be part of your repertoire and your identity is someone who does what they say they would do. That ultimately builds self esteem, confidence, and self respect. Because if you're the kind of person who, even in tough times and having tough conversations, you will do what you say you're going to do, that will build a layer of unshakable confidence as you move forwards, and you will try new challenges, take on bigger challenges as your sphere of comfort gets bigger and you don't consistently shrink and contract. And that's even bad days. It's living with no excuses, having accountability, owning things, accepting things. If you didn't do the work, own it. Don't use excuses. Put things in place to make sure you don't fail to do what you said you're going to do. Whatever that is, accountability coaches, our Super Six programs, whatever it may be, our 12-week get shit done, 12-week accountability, they're all there for you to help you. And it's about doing the basics even when you don't feel like it. Because as we know and discussed, and you know yourself, motivation is fleeting and it comes and it goes. It peaks and it troughs. But building discipline and foundational habits is what this is about. Eating what you should do even when you don't feel like doing it. Getting your steps in even when you don't feel like it. Going to the gym even when you don't feel like it. This is what's going to build a stronger mindset, a better body, a healthier body, and a more confident you as you progress through 2026. Another thing, environment, peer group, gravity. We know this, that environment always trumps willpower, because willpower, like motivation, it can fade, it can peak and it can trough. Be around people that hold you accountable. Have a training partner. Go to classes with people who will call you out if you don't turn up. Have a coach who will hold you accountable. Filling in weekly trackers. All these things will help keep you on track when you, willpower and motivation wise, start falling. Because it will happen. It happens to everyone. Don't think you're better than anyone else. We all have those times. Okay. And remember, you rise and you fall to your circle and your systems, the systems you have in place for your life, and the circle of people around you, friends, fitness friends, your close peer group. You will be what they are. You know, people talk about you'll be the average of the 5 people you spend the most time around. Largely, it's pretty true. Okay. And like I discussed earlier, when it comes to your systems, have a plan B and a plan C for when plan A will not happen because of travel, injury, work, stress, tiredness, whatever it may be. Have a plan B and a plan C so you can execute them when plan A is not an option. Another concept I learned from one of my coaches this year is this concept called staying around the fire. When you're around heat, when you're around people who are winning, when you're around people who are going after things, you're around the fire, you're around that, you feel that energy, you feel that heat. If you can stay close to that and get on the coattails of people that are winning, that are getting after it, that are doing classes, finding workout buddies that go and do what you said you would do. If you stay around them, we'll call this staying around the fire. Most people will retreat from the fire. It's a bit warm, it's a bit uncomfortable, and they'll drift to where it is comfortable, back into the comfort zone. and therefore they won't get the consistent results and the progression if you stay close to that fire, that uncomfortable feeling of this is a heavier weight, this class is hard, that run was harder, these people are fitter than me. I'm training with people who keep me on track. Stay around the fire, stay near the heat, and you will progress for sure. Again, we talked before, and a few things on this point: reducing the drag, reducing the friction. Drop the excuses, drop what we call fake work. That's the paper shuffling. It's avoiding the conversations you need to have. Going to the gym and avoiding the exercises you know that you need to do that are on your plan because you fancy doing something else. Don't get me wrong. If you haven't got the time, that's where you have your plan B and plan C. But if you have got the time and you need to squat and deadlift in that session and you need to do some echo bike hard intervals, do the work. Don't do the fake work. Do what's needed, do what's required. Drop your low standards. If you raise your standards, you will act upon it. You'll act in accordance with it. It becomes your identity. Yeah? So raise your standards of what you expect for yourself. That's what's important. Not others, for yourself. Drop scrolling and time wasting. People who say, I can't prep food because I haven't got time. I can't get to the gym. I can't get my steps in. But they'll sit and watch 2 hours of Netflix every night. We all know that's just excuses. So scrolling, time wasting tasks, where do they show up in your life, which mean your bucket's full and you can't add in extra cardio, going a walk, meal prep, getting to bed earlier, recovering, mobility, foam rolling work, whatever it may be. Drop the time wasting activities. And obviously, following on from that, you've got to drop something to start something. If your bucket's full, you can't put water in. You can't pick something new up if your hand's full with something else. You've got to drop something to start something new and to make space to allow you to bring these new habits to the fore. Another problem this year: too many goals. Chase too many rabbits in a field, you catch none. An old coach told me years ago. You need a few foundational things you're chasing after, and they don't want to be too many. Yeah, you might have 1 to 3 big goals this year you want to achieve, and they are things that you can see yourself achieving. There might be stretch goals, there might be things you've never done before, but I wouldn't have too many of those. Otherwise, you're basically looking in all directions and you don't know where to turn. So I wouldn't go with too many. And obviously, you need to write them down. You need to schedule them. You need to put the component parts in your calendars. If you want to start running a marathon or 10Ks, you need to put your running sessions in your Google Calendar. It all needs to be planned out. So that's when I go run. You want to get stronger. Your gym sessions need to be planned in your calendar. That's when I train. I don't book anything else in my diary at those times. That's when I train because my goal is important to me and I have to do the work if I'm going to achieve that goal. All right? Make it important. Get it in your calendar. And to finish this short mini training, don't stop. The biggest danger to you becoming the person you want to be and achieving your goals in 2026, it's not failure, it's stopping. If you keep stopping and starting, you won't get there. Build that momentum, build discipline, do the minimum when you can't get the maximum done, but don't stop. Even when injured, train the body parts you can, do the things you can. That way you will crush 2026.